Well, you probably started watching this video because you want to know how to become more authentic. And I think the big problem with being not authentic is that we are suffering. We are not delivering the creative work that we could, and we don't have the connections to people. And all that leads to more and more suffering and being more unhappy with ourselves and being not aligned with ourselves. That's how I felt, still feeling sometimes, and that's how I felt for so many years. And I've been trying to work on that, and I had so many struggles, and I think now I'm in a better place, and I want to show you how I did it, and hopefully the stuff that I've learned, that I developed, can help you on your journey. It is still a journey for me, for you, it will always be one, but I think I learned a few tricks. So if you want to stop suffering and finally become the person that you are meant to be, delivering great creative work, making more deeper, meaningful connections, then you should follow me right now. I want to share a model with you that I developed, and I'm so excited, guys. Wow, let's go, sit down. Okay, wow, this is amazing. I am so excited to share this with you. It's something universal, I think. To become more authentic is like a journey that we should all be on. It's a human quest, and it's never ending. It will always continue, and it's something magical. It's something magical to learn something about yourself and express yourself in a way that is aligned with yourself. I developed a little model that should help us on this little journey. It's very simple, and for each area I want to show you what you can do. And all these areas interact with each other, it's all intertwined, but it makes it easier to break down the very complicated question of what does it actually mean to be authentic. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about myself, because you might ask the question, who am I to talk about authenticity? Who is this Patrick guy all of a sudden? What is he doing here on YouTube? And I ask myself the same question actually. And all I can say is that I struggled with authenticity my whole life, really. Ever since I'm a child, I have been a very quiet, awkward little guy in elementary school. I didn't have any friends. I was occupied with questions about life, about the meaning of life. What is life? What is death? And yeah, I know, really weird stuff I was thinking about. So obviously I didn't have many people to talk about. And that was okay for the time being. But then coming 7th grade, I realized that this is not going to work out. I need friends. I want to go and play with other people. I want to belong somewhere. And so I actually became more social. I started to go meet people. I started to have friends. I learned to play the guitar. I started dating girls, and all of that was amazing stuff. I went to parties, and I really enjoyed that as a teenager. I really liked to become this social person. I had this great shift in my personality and my interests. And there's something I didn't notice back then, and that was that I left a part of myself behind. This thoughtful little child that just wants to learn and observe things. I didn't know all these things, that I kind of buried it until I went to university and I started playing music on the street. I was one of these busking guitarists who made some money. I paid my bills, my rent with music from the streets, and I also wrote some songs. And what I noticed was that these songs that I wrote, they were so unlike myself back in the days. I wrote songs that were so melancholic, sad, so emotional. I was like a really sad guy with a guitar. Whenever I had to write something, and I didn't understand why this is happening, because usually off the stage I would be cracking jokes, I would be fun, I would be friendly, and like this energy ball, really. And I started to be really confused about these different selves that I have, because back then I didn't know what's going on, and I started doubting myself. I wondered if my friends even know the real me, if I know the real me. I had problems writing songs, really. Anything else than these sad songs. And I was like, what's going on? How can I I couldn't even write a fun song because I was so out of tune with my self. And eventually I would stop making music because I was so conflicted. And it took a lot of time and reflecting, self-reflection really, to come to the bottom of this and develop skills and tools to protect myself from this doubt and to express myself. And now I'm here. I'm still have my issues going on, but I would say I'm more aligned with myself, and the way that I express myself is more how I usually see myself. Like here now on camera, I have made other videos, other channels, other forms of content, and I had a different personality. I would have a higher energy or a bit more. Everything was scripted, and now as you see me here, that's how it feels when you have a conversation with me. Well, more of a monologue, because now you cannot say anything. Authentic people accept their personality and traits, so they will display a wider spectrum of their self. They embrace vulnerability and approach life with confidence and pride, rather than guilt and shame. When they act, it is in alignment with their inner world. Everything they do becomes an expression of their many-layered selves. An authentic person is, to some degree, emotional intelligent. An authentic person has done inner work, knows his feelings and interests well enough, and is also able to see the different personalities and the different selves that are within us, and is able to find harmony and balance and accept that there's also conflict between those selves from time to time. So my model for authenticity has 3 different areas, and these areas, they work with each other, they influence each other. So the first one is about knowing yourself. And to know yourself, it can really be helpful to look into the past. Really try to remember the child that you have been. Was there any talents that you have, interests, or a personality that you had that you are not having anymore because you probably repressed some of these things because you didn't have the environment for this personality. Maybe you didn't have any person that you can talk to, like I had. Like, I was a philosophical child, but forget it. With my environment, like, nobody gave a shit about this stuff. So it really helps to see if there's anything that's still part of yourself today, like a creative side, emotional part of you, someone that is actually more of a skillful leader, a strong person that you have to abandon because you needed to be a people pleaser in your family or some sort. Think about the kid that you have been and the things that you dropped and why, and if there's some of this still in the present, which leads me to the next thing that we should explore and know about ourselves, and that is the most important one, and that is the present. Who am I today? What is important for me today? And write down all the values that you can think of. And I don't mean these values that you should have, that sound good, that other people have, like honesty, transparency, empathy, and whatnot. I'm talking about values that you have right now, that are actually you, not these values that you should have. That's very important, because we tend to pick these values and say, okay, I want this value, I should have this value, and that's why this is my value. But that's not how it works. This is not who you are right now. Write a list, write as many values as you can, and you will select the top 10 of these values, so you can really define what is the most important for you. Once you have a list of 10 of these values, you will rate them. So write them all down, and then you will rate them from 1 to 10 on a scale, and you ask yourself the question, how much do I honor this value in my present life, in this moment? If your values are all at around 8, 9, 10, then it's amazing. Then that means your values are aligned with your life and what you're doing. But if you find some of these values are at 5, 6 or lower, then you should take a closer look at these values, because that means that there's something that you're neglecting and something that needs your attention, really. If you find one of your values has to do with music and you're not playing music, you're not making playlists, and you have a very low rating, then you should find activities that align with these values. For example, if I find myself having just a rating of 5 for music, then, and I don't have time or any instrument with me because I'm traveling a lot, then I should at least try to make a playlist on Spotify, which I love doing, but sometimes I don't have the time to do it. Or when it's about feeling acknowledged, another personal value of mine, then I should find a way to, get on stage, talk to people, make a video, find a way of expressing myself, showing myself. And that's it. If you do this, rate all your values and then find activities that support this value, that will enable you to rate this value higher in the future, then you are more able to know yourself and to align with yourself and your actions. Let us quickly talk about the tools that you will need to do all this kind of work. Because something like the values, you will need to write it down. And that's something I would recommend you to do anyway. You should write more. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. I didn't always write down my thoughts, my emotions, my values. I got pretty far by just reflecting for myself, thinking for myself, and sharing my thoughts with friends and partners. And that's really great already. If you don't want to write, that's fine, just do that. Just think and discuss and find a way to learn about yourself this way. But writing things down will really propel your growth forward, and you will learn about yourself much faster. And you have more clarity because writing is thinking, and it makes your thoughts more real, and things that are inside, by putting them out, it becomes a more real experience. And how should you write? Well, I'm just journaling for myself. I just write down whatever comes to mind. I'm brain dumping in the morning. Once you get started with brain dumping, you can start writing your emotions, your emotional states throughout the day, your thoughts, values. You can track your values that you have just written down, hopefully. And you can track them every week, every month, and just see if you can give them a different rating, if you need to readjust, or if you need to change your values. All this stuff is so valuable to do that, to know yourself, to explore yourself. The second area of authenticity is about accepting yourself. And if you have been writing, then you already do a lot of the work. A lot of accepting yourself happens naturally just by writing it down, just by discussing these things, just by making them more real. It's just a natural progression, because writing gives you clarity, and it will help you to take a step back and see the bigger picture of your life. And while you're doing this, you will discover things about yourself that you don't like so much, like sadness, anger, frustration, boredom, the need to feel acknowledged, or other more gray area values that you might have and discover. And it will be hard to accept them, I'm not gonna lie, and it will take time. Just by knowing them, you've already done such a great job. The most powerful tool that I know is also one of the most simplest, and that is working with your inner child. If you don't know what it means, it's basically imagining a child within you, a hurt little person that is moody, angry, sad, whatever the emotions are that you are dealing with. Let's do it together right now, and close your eyes and imagine there's this child inside of you, and picture the child as good as you can. Really have a clear image. What is the child doing? How is it feeling? I want you to imagine that you started a conversation with a child, and tell the child, "Hi, I'm there for you. I'm here for you. What do you need from me right now?" And then you're gonna listen. You're gonna listen what this child has to say to you. And then you can take the child by the hand, give it a hug, whatever you think it needs and you need, and we'll come to a conclusion and integrate this part of yourself within you. You can open your eyes again, if you have done this with me. And this is such a powerful exercise. It's incredible. It can work the first time you try this. And you will hopefully do this more often. Build a habit around this. Do this once a day, once a week, you know. Do it in your diary, do it in your journal. If you really have time, write it down, the dialogue with the child. Because then, again, it will become more real. When you write it down, you will write down how you feel, how the child feels, what is happening. You can write down all these nuances, and you can really focus on this one interaction. And by doing this, you create a real experience, and one that really happens. You really have this conversation with your inner child. And this makes it so much more powerful. So I really recommend you doing this. Try this at least a few times. Give yourself the chance, the permission to imagine a conversation with yourself. It might be hard in the beginning, but it's so powerful. I have seen it, I have done it with other people, and it's incredible what it can release emotionally. You will be more in tune with yourself. You will accept many different parts of yourself more easily. And there's another thing that you can write down, and that is writing down the things that you are grateful for. But not only that, I want you to also make a connection and ask yourself, okay, I'm grateful for this, and what did I do to make this happen, the thing that I'm grateful for? So to make it more clear, I give you an example. You can, for example, say, I'm grateful for having friends. I'm grateful for amazing friends. If I have amazing friends, that would mean that I'm a good friend too. I'm a good listener. I'm a kind person, you know, whatever fits. Or in my case, I'm grateful that I finally started this YouTube channel. And if I did this, that means that I'm pursuing my dream and my goals, and that I'm willing to put myself out there and be vulnerable in front of the camera, which is amazing. And there are a few things that you definitely should avoid when you are trying to accept yourself. The first thing is, don't be too harsh on yourself. It's simple. Just don't judge yourself too much. You should realize that many things that you are doing, that you are not happy with yourself, that you don't like about yourself, so maybe you get too emotional, too angry, too quickly, and you develop these as strategies to survive in your family, maybe with your first friends and your social groups. Some of these traits were necessary to survive. You needed to shut down as a child. You needed to be a people pleaser. All these things, you needed to withdraw, and that was okay. It's so okay that you did that. You had to do it. So don't judge yourself. You did the right thing. Now it's the time to choose who you want to become, of course. And that leads me to the second thing that you want to avoid, and that is a toxic environment. You might have developed traits that you don't like about yourself because you come from a childhood that needed you to suppress certain things about yourself or to become a different person. But now it's time to choose another environment with amazing people, healthy people. Because people who want to keep you small, you will notice that when you talk about your journal, your new interests that you're trying, you know, writing down your thoughts and feelings, some people will make fun of that. Some people will be resentful. And this should be a sign that you probably should step back from those people and do your own thing. Some of these people will react very, very harshly when you are setting a boundary, maybe for the first time, because many of those people have been benefiting from you not having boundaries. And now that you finally set some, they will become angry. They will try to overstep these boundaries. And this will not help on the journey towards accepting yourself, because they will keep you small. So avoid those toxic environments. The third one is, oh my God, this is a hard one. Don't compare yourself to others. And I know, it's so hard, and I struggle with this myself. I know, I get it, it's not so easy to just stop comparing yourself. It is not useful. For me, thinking that this is just not useful has helped me to stop this inner dialogue, at least sometimes. It's a natural thing to compare ourselves. So I want to give you an alternative, something that you can compare yourself to. Instead of other people, compare yourself to the person that you have been 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, because that is what you should actually look at. I mean, if I go back in time and I look at this person that I have been 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I was such a stupid person. I was such an idiot. And I'm so glad I'm not that person anymore. Oh my God, I was so clueless. I was so clueless about many things. This is so powerful to actually realize this, and that's why you should compare yourself to the past. Compare yourself to the person that you have become already. Okay, for the third area, I want to show you something. Follow me. All right. So, here is the beautiful thing. I still need to learn a little bit more. You probably want to know why I'm actually showing you this djembe. I wanted to just explore some more ways of expressing myself. And I couldn't do so with just writing, just making videos or playing guitar. And that is the third area I want to talk about, and that is expressing yourself. Something so powerful. When you are learning about yourself, when you accept yourself, you will naturally start to express yourself differently, because you will be more aligned with yourself automatically. It will just flow naturally for you. You will find different words that describe your emotions. You will find that you will have a wider spectrum of vocabulary because you write. That is already a way of expressing yourself by writing this journal, or finding other creative ways of expressing yourself. I think artists are most prone to ask the question, how do I become authentic? I think it's a lot of content creators, musicians, writers. They are the first to ask this question. Probably you have some kind of creative hobby or interest or profession. When they start creating something, they will at some point ask the question, okay, is this in alignment with myself? Is this me? Am I doing something that is me? And it's a bit tricky because, well, sure, we can talk about things that we have been in the past, things that I have done as a child, or things that I enjoy right now. But there are things that I don't know about, things that I still might enjoy. Some people like to dance, and they didn't know that before. Some people like to drum, and they didn't know that before. And so it's important to start exploring these things and explore, express, and experiment, really. That is the beautiful thing about exploration, about experimentation, about expressing yourself. You will learn so much just by doing experiments like this. Take a drum and see what happens. See how you feel. How do you resonate with these things? How do you resonate with creating a beat just by yourself? This beautiful story of a friend I have who was really struggling with authenticity, with being confident, and with people, and with many things. He was like very low confidence, and then he started to learn to dance salsa, and at the same time he started to learn piano. And it's crazy how much this guy learned in a short amount of time. And he not only became very musical, very talented, expressing himself in 2 different ways, like crazy, like in dancing, moving the body to the music. That is like, that's no small feat. He would meet up with any musician that he meets. He would play and jam with everyone all the time. It's impressive. So what he achieved was to actually combine both worlds, the social interaction and the creative expression. And he also became so confident that he enjoyed the company of other people more. And of course, these hobbies these interests help you to get in touch with other people and express yourself in not just language, not just gestures. They are a part of it. But when you do music, if you dance, you find that you will have a variety of other things that you can also use to interact, to communicate, to express. And that's when it gets so interesting. That's when the real magic happens, when you get into a flow with other people and with instruments, and everything just becomes like this one dynamic energy, this vibe that you create with other people. And you find yourself with a bunch of people that just want to do the same thing, that just want to create this vibe, this energy together. We can sing, we can move our body, we can talk and gesture, and we can play the notes, and that's when life becomes so much more beautiful, so much more intriguing, so much more magical and spiritual even. And that's why I think you should spend a lot of time in this area of expression. Express yourself, express yourself, express yourself. And just one more thing before you leave. And that is something that I didn't talk about yet. And that is, we've discussed so many things that have to do with doing things, right? Playing the drums, writing a journal and all this stuff. But that's really just half of the things that we should focus on. And if you really want to be in tune with yourself, if you really want to be in touch with your inner world and get to know yourself more on a deeper level, then I think it's important to just sit with yourself too. Just sit down and be with yourself. So instead of just doing and knowing these things, we should also just be there, be present. Find your own ways to just be. Bring mindfulness into your life. Play the guitar mindfully, write mindfully, interact mindfully. Sit just on the bench and just look around. Find your own way to just be. Be with yourself and this world, and you will discover things that nobody can talk about and nobody can teach you. Well, that's everything I can tell you for now. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave a like, and I hopefully see you soon. I pour my heart into this stuff, and it would be amazing to make this thing a longer journey. So hopefully you will be there with me. Okay, bye-bye.